So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
Oh, there we go! This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside, and who's off?
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR Ignite Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
Straggling the border between Leicestershire and Derbyshire, Donington Park has had itself, well, an interesting experience over the course of its lifetime. It's been home to arguably one of the most famous first laps in all of Formula One. It's a stalwart in terms of touring car racing, and for many a year, they used to host a metal concert on the inside, till they threw them to the outside. But tonight, we welcome you to Donington Park here on RaceSpotTV and welcome you to Club UK&I Monday Night Skippys in support of the Calm Zone. Robinson starting in for Rachel Whitewood this week along with Linus Bronstrom, and we are here, as we say, at Donington. It's 11 corners and it's 64 degrees Fahrenheit with high humidities and clear skies. Wind speeds, well, they're about 10 miles an hour today. We are going to be racing for 14 laps. That is exactly 40 miles around this racetrack. And, well, Linus, let's talk about the track temps first. It is cool here this evening, but the humidity will make it very interesting in terms of the draft.
It sure will. It's not at all like we've got in real life right now. It's cool, it's going to be very gripey, but the humidity could play an interesting factor in many ways. So it's going to be some good racing, and we can expect to see some pretty bold moves around the outside of corners, and coming into the last chicane, it's going to be interesting to see what they will do, and expect some good racing.
Yeah, as we came on air, Fahim Atanides was down in 3rd place. He's worked himself up to the top of the timing stand to 142.019. Ben Daniels in 2nd place, Anthony Catt in 3rd place, 4th place, Simon Edwards and Robert Plumney round out your top 5. And, well, dancing into the sunset here at Donington Park. I will say one thing. One of the latest graphics updates, it makes this late afternoon track conditions just look so beautiful, Linus.
Yeah, it really does. The lighting is amazing, and makes it look a bit yellow-orangey, and if you get the right camera angles, you can make it look really, really well. And with the new effects as well, with the grass getting thrown up when they go off the track or just outside the curbs, it makes it look even better.
Well, let's talk about curbs for a moment. Let's talk actually about the fact that this is a track that historically, 2 things come into mind. First of all, blown engines. Second of all, it is slow-down penalties because, well, we do essentially mirror British racing standards here, where 4 wheels off the track at any point, that'll be a slowdown penalty for you. And a track that's got wide curbs and flat curbs that you want to attack, that can create an issue. We've seen it over the years.
Yeah, we have, especially on a place like this, and a lot of people, they like to use the curbs as part of the track, but it's not actually a part of the track, so that's gonna catch a lot of people out, and usually does around here. So whoever keeps off the curbs good enough is gonna get a huge advantage in this one, I believe. So can expect to see some mistakes.
So far, 33 drivers have qualified for this event. A couple of drivers have not. They are Anthony Jones, Darren Morris, Mark Murphy, Reece Saunders, Jonathan Wolf, Charles Kellyman, and Stephen Nobson in there as well. Nobles even. So they are drivers who have not qualified. We'll talk about that 1 second bracket then, and that is 15 drivers. Simon Maltby in 15th place right now, Linus. He is down in 947 behind Raheem right now. So we've got ourselves 15 drivers, but not a big gap there between 15th and 16th.
No, it's not. It's very, very close down there, and it's usually like it is here, very, very close, and then the further back in the field you get, the more spread out it is. But for example, between second and third, we got 2 1,000ths of a second separating them, so the speeds are very, very even here. And I think to get a good qualifying lap, and you need to have the draft down the back straight away coming down towards the chicane, because that is such a huge factor in these cars as always. So I think Fahim has had a pretty good draft on that pole position lap that he's currently holding.
Oh yeah, I agree. Anthony Cat right now is on a lap without traffic, running himself then through, and actually he's messed up that lap down at the S's, turn number 9 on track in towards the Melbourne hairpin. He will come anyway. So just have a look at him through there. 180 degree tight right-hander from Melbourne hairpin, and then you dance yourself up towards Goddard's, which essentially is about 100 yards after the exit of the S's if you were to go the other way. Cat brings that car on towards pit road. Fahim Atanides is going to do exactly the same thing. Or will he? He's heading himself into that section of racetrack now. Will he try and beat his final lap on the final opportunity in qualifying? The answer to that question is, we'll find out in a second. 142.019, his fastest day of the day. 142.9 that time around, so he will not improve. In fact, I don't think any driver is really going to improve here. So what we are going to do is going to take you through your starting grid for this Monday Night Skippys, presented by the Calm Zone. Front row of your grid for Fahim Atanides, 142.019, and alongside him, Ben Daniels, 0.137 of a second back. Row number 2, Anthony Cat and Simon Edwards. The third row of your grid will see drivers of Robert Plumley and Ewan Patterson. And then row number 4, Jonathan Sheen, Clark Williams, running out your top 10 leaders, Matt Cox and Christoph Grant.
A very competitive top 10, and my surprise here is Robert Plumley qualifying 5th. That's a very, very good qualifying for him. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep it up there through the race.
Yeah, let's look then at the qualifying result as they tick through on your screen. I was going to say, not as big a field as what we've seen from previous rounds. Only 34 drivers qualified here today, Linus. Number of drivers did not set a time at all in qualifying.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wondering if they're gonna pull out or if they're gonna stay in to do the race. But usually sees a little bit bigger grid, but I don't think this track allows much more than 40 drivers, so that could be one reason.
I think a lot of people are worried about the fact that football might have been coming home by now. Unfortunately, it's not. One thing that is, of course, the same. Islam Balal, thank you to him for TrackCam, TrackCam22.com. Andreas Warner and Warner Design for overlay design. Development by Simon Grossman and AppStreaming.com. Nick Fissom for RaceSpotTV, live timing and scoring. And of course, Club UK&I Monday Night Skippys is in support of the Calm Zone, a male mental health charity. Google the Calm Zone if you or a friend is affected by anything that they feel they need to talk to someone else about. Mental health is the biggest killer of males under the age of 45. So, having a look then, your grid. Notice the fact you've got a lot of drivers there, Linus, who are actually not even on the front straight. They're actually at Goddard's.
Yeah, just like last week, the field is starting all the way through the last corner, and that's going to make it a little bit interesting for them. They're going to have to be very patient getting around that turn so they don't drift out and hit each other or go off in the grass and spin out before even getting to the start line, because that would be disaster for them. But it's going to make it a bit spread out towards the back as well, so could be in for another clean start here.
Well, let's give you a little bit of RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Let's bring you to the start then of this Monday night Skippys in support of the Calm Zone. The drivers are all lined up on the starting grid with the exception of 3 drivers right now. We're just waiting patiently for them. They'll be on in just a couple of moments' time. And once we've done that, we're going to be racing for 14 laps here around this Donington Park. Many people call it the 3rd track in British motor racing. It's got a strong pedigree though. Lights on, lights will go out. Let's give you some fan immersion for the start here from Donington.
It's a really, really good start by Anthony Catt, making it into 2nd place already by the entry to turn 1. As well as Plumley going past Simon Edwards for P number 4, and he's going to look to get into 3rd place here already. That's a terrible start from Ben Daniels. He's having to defend a free wide here, and he's going to hold off Simon Edwards though, but that's going to cost him 2 positions so far in just a couple of corners.
Yeah, that's not a good start by him. As we have a look through your field, we have got ourselves a bit of a breakaway out front. We'll talk about that in a moment's time, but for the most part, everyone has been able to get themselves going in this event. That's the important thing, but we turn our attention to the front of your field. I thought there was going to be a bit of a breakaway. There isn't. Anthony Catt right on the coattails right now of Faheem Tonides as they work themselves now towards the back end of the racetrack. This is McLean's turn number 7. And turn number 8 into Coppice. Long back straightaway now down Starter Key Straight. This is when the draft will kick in for a lot of these drivers. And let's see what they're going to do. Well, your top 2, they're going to remain line astern. But look at that. 3rd place, Robert Plumley. Plumley up into 3rd place already. Qualified 5th, now running in 3rd.
He had a great start, and he's not letting these front 2 get away on the straight. He closed up a lot, and you can see him braking a lot later here as well. Going into the first of the 2 hairpins, right up the back of Anthony Catt now. So if he can get this next hairpin just as good, Catt is going to have to watch out.
Yep, so now towards final corner, Goddard's lap number 1 of this event. Exit of that final corner, all the cars will stream themselves down to complete their first lap of 14 here on RaceSpotTV. Live timing and scoring is available. Visit RaceSpot.tv/timing. A little bit of toing and throwing and squabbling down in your mid-pack right now. On board with the driver of Clark Williams. He's in the 8th position. Car ahead of him, but Jonathan Sheen going to get loose then on the exit of that first corner, Redgate. As they come into the crane of curves, you turn right first. This will help Williams, as he should just be able to clear. Oh, contact behind. Yeah, so he just gets tagged from behind there. Driver behind Sheen just basically, is that Matt Cox?
That was Bill Fraser, I believe. He just didn't expect him to brake that much and missed his braking point himself and just ran in straight to the back of him. He actually got a wheel in the grass and got loose. That's what happened.
Yeah, runs right into the rear there of that number 30 machine. Well, tough luck for both of them. The grass can be often very slippery here at Donington Park. Bill Fraser, by the way, only down as it stands in P number 9. But to go back to the front of your field, Faheem versus Catt, they are 1 and 2. Plumley 3rd, Daniels 4th, Edwards in 5th place with Ian Patterson in 6th. Clark Williams, Bill Fraser going side by side with Christoph Graham, working himself back into 8th. 9th place is Grant, and Simon Maltby rounds out your top 10. Behind,
we got a crash in the chicane.
Yeah, it's a big one. And there we can see a car almost going up on its roof. That, I believe, is Mark Day. No, that's Tim Adcock even. In the number 21 machine, reversing now in that Martini car. And, well, that was a big crash. Let's get ourselves a second look at that one.
Starts with Jake Riddington running into the car in front of him, and then everyone just arca braking it straight through the thing, not lifting at all. So few cars with damage there, and one bouncing around, almost flipping over.
Tell you what, I saw a pair of sucks earlier that said clutch on your left foot, and then you use your brake and your steering wheel on the right. And while sometimes I know people like to left foot brake, but if you can't find the brake pedal, stick back to the basics sometimes. Edwards on board of him versus Plumley. Plumley down into 4th place. Gap 2/10 They work themselves now. Exit of Craner Curves. Old hairpin in towards Starkey's Bridge. They will head themselves about now. This is about going on for 4th place behind them. Maltby and James Melcalf. They are going at it. And that is for P number 10 on track here today. A track like this here, Linus, is where you can gain or lose a lot of points depending on how determined you are. It's not about making moves necessarily. It's about being there to pick up the pieces of other people around you have incidents.
Yeah, you really got to stay out of trouble, and you can't back out too much either. So, because if you do that, you're just going to lose too much. It's very much about momentum all the way around the track. So while you're careful, you can't be too careful because it'll cost you either way. So you just got to find that balance if you're going to have good pace. Simon Maltby has done just that, gaining 6 positions, and behind him James Ritchie has gained 7 spots so far today, so they've had a pretty solid race.
Yeah, they have actually. Yeah, Simon Maltby right on board of him, 15th place. You can see ahead of him, he's got James McCrifty, Clark Williams, Christoph Grant, and Bill Fraser. In fact, Williams going to go side by side then with the driver of McCrifty, or is that, no, actually that's Christoph Grant. Actually is going to go have a look at them. They are side by side in towards turn number 1. Williams has got himself in the number 98 car. Inside line for him. Christoph Grant forced to go around the long way, not able to keep that position. He's now down in 9th place on track.
Good battle going on here. He's getting the run down the hill again. He's going to try and maybe look to the inside. No, he's actually going to back out and stay behind. Try to get a run for later on in the lap. But so far they're just going to stay single file.
They are. As Grant there in 9th place, would you say? We'll have a look at the movers and shakers in this event in a moment's time. Let's go back down to your mid-pack a little bit. Richard Holborn versus Dave Delson right now. They're going at it for 22nd place on track. Gap between them after 3.5 laps is 0.4 of a second. Drake Riddington has just lost himself a position as well. That is going to be to Simon Troynes, although they are still side by side actually. We'll see this one right down outside your top 20 here, Linus. You've got 5 drivers really swapping positions. That's Simon Thorns, Ben Summers, Charles Kellyman as well involved.
Here they go, 3 wide down the straightaway in Jake Riddington's mirror. Actually, he's going to back out, he's going to make it 2 wide, but they're going to be 3 wide again as Ben Summer moves up the inside, and he's going to gain 3 positions. Oh, Summer runs into the back of Stones. Sorry, that was Sheen gaining 3 positions in a few seconds.
You always expect something like that to happen, though. If you are going to go 2 wide, let alone into the S's, you know there's a chance of something bad happening. As for Fahim Atanides is on pit road. End of lap number 4. Fahim Atanides, after leading this race, is on pit road. Do we see any damage to that car? Or did he just underfuel there, Linus? Oh no, he's been involved. Big crash there down at Melbourne Hairpin by the looks of it.
Yeah, crash for the 2 leaders of the race. That's Fahim Atanides and Ben Daniels that's gotten together in the second to last corner, and Fahim has gotten the most of that damage, having to put it back onto pit road, and that's going to drop him way down the order. Yeah,
I think there's some technical difficulties there for Fahim, and I mean, Linus, we'll go off kilter for a moment. That's one of those things. If you do have a technical glitch, you always say, if you're in a braking zone for a corner, try and arc it out as much as you possibly can. But there was a car on the inside. Fahim wouldn't have known that, but consequently, he's lost himself the lead of this motor race.
And he's now down into 21st position, and technical difficulties is always the worst. And speaking of that, I think Paul Thurston has had some technical issues as well, which has put him down 1 lap in this race, which is unfortunate for him. And Simon Edwards now looking to get back into 2nd place here on Ben Daniels, looking back towards your lead. But Daniels is defending the inside nicely here, and there's going to be a run again coming down into the next hairpin for Edwards. He's going to move to the outside, but Daniels going to block him once again.
To explain the significance of this, Fahim Atanides has won himself 3 of the first 4 rounds of this championship, but now this race is wide open. We're having a look at the driver of Simon Edwards in the number 27 machine as he heads himself down towards Redgate. He's in third place. Ben Daniels is in second, and Anthony Capp leads the way right now. But it looked as though originally that Athenaides had a kind of hold on this event. Yes, he wasn't putting away, but he's keeping the drivers in bay to an extent. But now we've also got Clark Williams and Christoph Graham. They're close together. Let's go back loads of Ben Daniels on board of him. Anthony Catt just ahead of him. Anthony Catt going to go very wide then on the exit of Old Hairpin as they make that left-hand flick now into Starkey's Bridge. And well, Daniel sniffed an opportunity, and it looks as though he's not going to be able to get it just yet as there's other incidents behind.
Edwards was trying to get up the inside there, but Daniels just slammed the door shut on him to stay behind Catt, so that could have been a big incident as well. And Plumley's right on the back of this group as well now when they've started battling. He's got right back up from being over a second back and here to go down straight away. Daniels getting the draft on Catt, moving out, back into it. Edwards closing in, but they're going to stay single file for the first chicane. Oh, as Daniels makes a mistake, and here comes Edwards and Plumley, and he's going to drop down to fourth, and Plumley's making a move for second.
Daniels tries to make a move back down to the inside, has a dance to the outside to avoid hitting Robert Plumley. Plumley staying side by side with Simon Edwards as they exit then. And the penultimate corner, that's the Melbourne hairpin in towards the final curve. Behind Clark Williams and Christoph Graham, they are still battling as well. That is for 7th and 8th positions on track. But here comes Plumley then versus Daniels. Daniels trying to get the run on the outside in towards turn number 1. On board with Robert Plumley, and well, he is clear. He is safe for the time being, but this is a battle that is far, far, far from over. As behind Clark Williams trying to make a move over Christoph Graham, can't do so. Behind that, there's also another little scrap going on as drivers head themselves in towards turn number 1. Couldn't really catch that one. Anthony Jones, though, that's the one. Anthony Jones and Adrian Hendy going out for P number 14 on track. Catt, though, as your race leader, starting to build a bit of a buffer.
Yeah, with these guys battling behind, he just has to put his head down and drive off because they're slowing each other down, and he wants to see Plumley make a move here. As we see Edwards getting sideways, and that's going to leave Catt for Plumley on the inside, and this is just letting Catt get away even more. As Plumley breaks later, he's going to get in the lead. Edwards is going to get to run off the corner though. We're going to do the crossover on him, and here comes Daniels as well. He's going to make it 3 wide in through the middle. He is not. He's going to get in behind Edwards, and they're going to be single file for the chicane once again.
Anthony Jones, your biggest mover inside your top 15 right now, as the battles in the top 4 continue to rage on. A lot of little scraps. James McWifty, by the way, your biggest mover inside of your top 10 by moving into your top 10. Robert Plumley in 4th place. He's got himself Edwards, who is ahead of him now. Behind, you've got yourself Fahim Athenaides. Let's check in with him. He's in 19th place, but my God, is he on a mission right now.
Yeah, he's really struggling, but he's caught up to some traffic here, and he's made a couple of positions up on this lap, I think, as he's still got slight technical issues by the looks of it. But he's going to pass Nicholas James Gerard here for P number 18 and see how fast he can get away from him.
I'll tell you one thing, it's been a very different for Fahim Athenaides since he's driven with Frostmaster Movano Racing. We see that also in 2K World Cup action, which of course will be back here on RaceSpotTV and on the iRacing Esports Network this coming Sunday at 8 PM GMT. That's 9 o'clock for us folks in the United Kingdom. As behind, you got yourself Jonathan Sheen versus Rhys Saunders. Now Saunders has moved himself up quite a few positions since the start of this event due to the fact he had a miserable qualifying position, I think, at the very least, from the back of my head. But we're on board right now with Jonathan Sheen. And well, yeah, let's talk about Fahim very quickly as well. He's been a very different driver since he's joined Movano. I mean, he had a reputation for a while of being an aggressive driver. I think he's calmed that down a little bit ever since he's got more speed, being able to lead races from the front. But we are likely going to see a Fahim from old, and he's going to be charging the rest of this event.
Yeah, it used to be Fahim that either you win it or you bin it, but now you either win it or you just win it anyway. I mean, he's calmed down, and he knows that getting a result is better than crashing out, and that's why you see him at the top of the championship all the time. Maybe not finishing at the top all the time, but he's always up there and he's always at the front and rarely making mistakes. He's matured a lot in the last couple of seasons. So he's it's just a matter of time before he wins another one of these championships.
Yeah, Carl Hanley versus Richard Tolburn going on for 20th place on track. As it stands, there we are. We're on board then with the driver of Carl Hanley. And he moves himself up into your top 20, Richard Tolburn down in 21st.
In front of him.
And that is Nicholas James Gerard there, who's lost it. That is down at Melbourne.
Yeah, coming out of the hairpin, he just put a wheel in the grass and disappeared from the front of Carl Hanley. So that's another position up for him.
Yep. Having a look at the replay. In fact, he didn't even make it to the grass there. He just lost it on the entry to the set of that hairpin. And that's one of these things that often happens. If you do put the power down too early, it can destroy you. We'll go back, though, to your race leaders here, Linus. As, well, the gap is 4 tenths of a second between Cat and Edwards right now. The gap between Edwards and Daniels, that one's increased to 8 tenths of a second.
Yeah, he's put his head down and pulled away here while Plumley and Daniels have been swapping positions back and forth. So Cat is going to have to watch out because now Edwards doesn't have anything in his mirrors to worry about. He can just use the draft down the straightaways. As behind him we see Plumley closing on Daniels, but he's going to stay behind. So still going to run in 2 pairs here, or 3 pairs, 2 pairs in a car alone in 5th place. That's Ian Patterson. About 2 seconds back from these guys and 3 seconds clear of Bill Fraser has moved his way back up into 6th.
I'm not sure, but I think Ben Daniels has got himself his 2nd slowdown penalty down at the S's today. As Simon Edwards puts the pressure on down into Goddard. Turn number 11 on this track. We are over halfway distant. We got ourselves 5 laps of this motor race still to go. Of course, we expect normally 25-minute races here on Club UK&I and Monday Night Skippys into port of the Calm Zone. Edwards riding on board of him in towards turn number 1. That is Redgate. Now they work themselves down the hill. It'll be a bold man normally to make a move down into the crane of curves, but I think Edwards here has got so much overspeed. He just wants to find himself to that first position, and I think he thinks he can drive away.
If he gets into the lead, I think very well he could drive away through this section because he's much faster than Cat as Cat makes another mistake. Here comes Edwards around the outside. He's going to have the inside. Oh, he's actually just going to clear him here. Never mind. He made it look very easy, and now I think if he can just nail the next 2 corners, he's going to try to drive away from Cat here. And Cat is soon going to have to worry about Plumley because Plumley has been faster than Cat for the last couple of laps as well.
I was going to say, you go to Staples, get yourself a That Was Easy button. However, Staples don't exist in the UK anymore. They've been taken over by some random company I know nothing about. That sounds like the illegitimate love child of Staples and Office Depot. On board with Clark Williams as they head themselves down towards the S's, and Williams having to fall back into line over Christoph Grant as they work themselves to the left and through the right onto the grass though for Clark Williams. And this is what we've seen a lot of drivers do here today: take too much curb on the exit of the second part of the S's, Linus, and actually as that car pushes wide they lose time overall.
Yeah, that curb on the inside, it'll really throw them out and push them wide onto the grass, and that'll, as you saw, you'll lose a bit of traction, get a little bit sideways and lose any connection you had to the car in front. So now he's going to have to work to catch back up again to try and make another move as we come to 4 laps to go.
Stephen Noble's on pit road. He's had himself an incident. Let's get ourselves a replay of that one for you. Well, that's the back end of that. We'd like to try and rewind that a little bit. And let's go back to Nobles if we possibly can. And let's have a look on board of him. That's a weird one. He just goes wide and then pulls the car off the track completely there. So potentially some hardware issues for him here. But out front, Edwards now with the race lead over Anthony Cat by 1.5 tenths of a second. And it's Edwards, then Cat, then Plumley, then Daniels, Patterson, Fraser, Grant, and Williams. They are your top 8 then, as we begin to close off this motor race. And now Edwards is in the perfect position where he wants to be. He loves leading these motor races from the front.
He really does, and he's going to do all he can now to keep Cat behind him. And with the speed he's got through the midsection, I don't think Cat is ever going to be close enough to get him with the draft out and straight away. But then again, one little mistake from Edwards and Cat will be right up there. So this could go anyone's way. And as we know from previous races, Plumley sitting back there in third, about half a second behind. That could be the place to be coming on to the last lap, you never know.
Clark Williams, Jane McGriffey, then as they head themselves through the Melbourne hairpin, they were side by side on the entry into it. Looks as though that Williams loses a little bit on the exit, but James McGriffey versus Christoph Grant, they are going to be 2/10 of a second separated behind. Anthony Jones going to go side by side with Adrian Hendy, and they'll fall back into line, but here will come Jones looking down to the inside into Goddard. Can he make the move stick? The answer is going to be he's going to try and force itself through there on the exit of the corner. They'll stay side by side on the run down in towards turn number 1, but as we go on board with the driver of Anthony Jones, I will say one thing. Normally, you get that slipstream perfect for you here, Linus. It does help you in towards Red Gate. However, what we've seen here today from the draft is not that easy.
Oh, as we see him make a little mistake there, and Jones is just going to go right by him. And that could cost Hendy a couple more positions if he's not careful. They're going to be side by side behind him. And that's Fahim coming through here as well, making up another position going into P16 as it goes high on the curb there. Got to be careful not to get a slowdown, but I think, no, he did get a slowdown. So that's going to drop him back down into 17th again, and he's going to lose the connection with his group.
Yeah, we just saw a 3-car pile-up that involved Carl Handy in that one. I'm going to try and replay that for you one more time from a better camera angle, show you what happened as they came down into that final corner. They're going to see number 3 machine of Carl Handy, also number 33 or Jake Riddlington involved in that one. But what you really want to focus on is this right here, as we see number 13 machine and the treble 5 cars both involved. That is Richard Holborn in the treble 5 car. To work out who's in that 13 machine for you as quickly as we can. But your top 3 then coming down to just a handful of laps to go here. It will be 2 to go now. So Robert Plumley in 3rd place, Anthony Catt in 2nd place, Simon Edwards is in 1st place right now. And yeah, I was right, it's Jake Riddlington and the number 33 car also involved in that incident, as Plumley looking down to the outside. No, that wasn't actually. That was Catt and Simon Edwards. They were going at it for P number 1 and 2. Plumley doing what I like to call this safe driving distance behind right now. Looks like Plumley's been spending a lot of time reading his highway code, Linus.
Yeah, he's in a position that we usually see Clark Williams in here, the back of the lead group, but he's doing a good job. He's keeping up with these guys, and Catt is all over Edwards here, sorry, and he's close, but he can't seem to get a move on him, as we see Plumley getting right onto the back of Catt here as we're coming up to the first straightaway, the main draft straight, as I want to call it, in these cars. And Catt is way too far behind Edwards to do anything here, and Edwards keeps it tight to give Catt as little draft as possible. And here comes Plumley. He moves out of line, moves back into the draft. Doesn't look like he wants to pass as he lifts early, so Plumley's going to wait for the last lap to make a move by the looks of it here.
That's not that bad a shout, because Catt's had 2 incidents down at the S's so far here today. Plumley looking down to the outside into Melbourne hairpin. Big lunge there by Plumley. Can't manage to make that one stick.
That was a bit optimistic. Maybe he missed his braking point, because that cost him a lot of time, and that could be his shot at a win here unless they hit each other, which I don't think they will. Catt brakes a little bit later. He's going to try and get the run on Edwards here onto the main straight. Edwards gets a little bit wide. Is Catt going to be close enough to make a move into the first corner? I don't think he is.
Well, here we are then, white flag out, 1 more lap to go here at the beautiful Donington Park. Let's show you your top 3 on the left-hand side of your screen, because they are Edwards, Catt and Plumley, all within 1.2 seconds of each other. Plumley, though, has faded so far on this lap, making it a 2-horse race in that battle for your race lead. Simon Edwards leading by 1/4 of a second right now over Anthony Catt, who we're going to go on board with then in that Chelsea FC car. On the run through Starkey's Bridge, left-hander into 6 and then right-hander into McLean's, turn number 7. Overtaking opportunities. Well, your next one starts in about 300 yards. You got to get onto it, though, off of the corner. Catt, can he do it? As he exits then, Coppice corner, down Starkey straight away for the final time. But still, it's Simon Edwards who is leading the way, as he has done for most of this race. After Fahim Atanides had some issues, Simon Edwards has found his way to the front of the field, and now just 2 more corners left to go for Simon Edwards in towards that right-hander at the Melbourne hairpin, turn number 10. Plumley has caught up, but it will take now these two top guys having an incident to force this one into allowing Plumley to have the race victory. They will, however, go side by side as they exit the final corner for a brief moment there, but it'll be Simon Edwards who wins here in this round of Monday Night Skippies in support of the Calm Zone. Simon Edwards is your winner, Linus.
That was an outstanding battle all the way to the end, and Edwards did everything he could to hold on to that position. And behind him we got a 5-car battle here. Christopher Keeble, Daryl Taylor, Anthony Jones. They're all going to be single file though, so it doesn't look like there's much of...
Fahim worked himself up to P number 13 at the end of this event after leading early. Fahim Atanides then P number 13 here. That will be important in terms of the championship. Just waiting for your last few drivers to head themselves past the start-finish line. Let's give you your final race results here from Donington Park. Well, at the end, it was Simon Edwards winning by a 10th and 4 thousandths of a second. Cat second place. Robert Plumley comes home in third. He was close, Plumley, but third place is all he will get. That's the position he made up in the first lap of this motor race. Ben Daniels in fourth place. Bill Fraser in P number 6. Ian Patterson, Christoph Grant, James McGriffey, Clark Williams, and Christopher Kelsey rounding out your top 10. On to page number 2. The big thing you see there is Fahim Atanides. He had the race lead early on. He was moving himself forward, but in the end, he only gets himself P number 13 here today. That'll be a bit of a dent to his championship ambitions. Christopher Keeble, 14th place. Darrell Taylor in 15th. Then you've got yourself Anthony Jones, Adrian Hendy, Rhys Saunders, Charles Kellyman, and Jake Whittington rounding out your top 20. There is a look at the remainder of the results up on your screen right now. Here on RaceSpotTV, we're going to take ourselves a quick timeout break. Get ourselves ready for post-race interviews. You are watching coverage of Club UK&I Monday Night Skippies in support of the Calm Zone, and we'll be back after this.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR at Night Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
Oh, there we go!
This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside, and who's this off?
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Welcome back to post-race coverage here of Club UK&I and Monday Night Skippys in support of the Calm Zone. It's time for post-race interviews, and well, before we do that one, Linus, it looks as though it's going to be Fahim Atanides' race here today. Then he had technical difficulties merged with an incident, and we ended up with a new, well, not a new race winner, he's won many a race before, but a different race winner to what we might have expected here today.
We certainly did have some neighbours who capitalised on that little issue. Congrats on finally being on the podium.
I'm going to translate that one for you there, Simon. Congratulations, race victory here today at Donington.
Thank you very much. It was a bit unexpected, like you said. I was in practice second behind Fahim in speed, so I was hoping to qualify there, but I failed miserably to do that. So I was lucky to move forward in the pack, really.
Well, this race track is one that you've got to kind of pick them off one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, but also wait for the incident to happen around you. I'm just going to show the people who move up and move down in this event as I ask you this question here, because you were able to move yourself up 3 spots from P number 4, but it's not a track that's always necessarily easy to overtake at, is it?
No, where it feels like you should be able to overtake is into the chicane, but it's the most dangerous place. You'll almost certainly have an incident there. So you've got to, it's really the next corner that you've got to overtake at, but sometimes the first corner is possible. Yeah, it's tricky because it's also, the people can't see you coming clearly when you overtake into that hairpin too.
Yeah, but you got yourself here today, race victory. How hard was it at the end versus Cat and Plumney? And what are you looking forward to next time out at Sonoma?
I quite like Sonoma, so I'm looking forward to that. But I always trust Anthony, so I was just trying to keep him just far enough out of that chicane, just so that he wasn't too tempted to throw it in. I was more worried about Robert behind him throwing it in.
Well, before we let you go then, who do you want to give a shout out to there, Simon?
Alan, who runs the series, and of course yourselves and the homeless charity that is supported via this as well. That's a worthy cause. That's about it, really. My mother for having me, maybe.
Thank you very much there, Simon Edwardson, for claiming race victory here today. We haven't got second place driver Anthony Catt. We have got a couple other people though to talk to. We're going to start off with Fahim Atanides. He finished down the field a little bit, Linus, but he stood by with you right now.
He certainly is, and dropping way down out of the top 20 and then making your way back up into what ended up being P number 13 to still salvage your points. But for him, what actually happened there?
Yeah, well, we got coming together at the chicane. You know, I mean, I agree with what Simon said about not the chicane, the hairpin after the chicane, and I agree with what Simon says that the most dangerous place to try is the chicane. But that hairpin is also very dangerous because the braking point, just as you start braking, the track dips downhill. So, and it's one of those downhill sections which is almost imperceptible to the naked eye, but it is downhill just as you start braking. So what ends up happening is that you end up out-braking yourself. You forget about the downhill section and you start running wide at the hairpin. That's exactly what happened to Ben as he tried to go for. I mean, I don't usually try for a move there unless it's 100% clear. He came from quite far back, and I tried to give him room, but unfortunately he ran wide, and we connected. And from there on, it was just damage limitation, really.
Still a good race to get all the way back up to P number 13, even though you had some close calls and at least one slowdown that we saw. But how was it in comparison to racing up at the front? How was it to be further down in the pack?
It's just as hard, to be honest, because whilst at the front you're focusing on, in effect, running qualifying laps, lap after lap, and close, the close hand-on-hand combat is rare. When you're cutting your way through the field, you have to be very careful not to touch people. Sometimes people don't move in a predictable way, so you're not sure whether you should make a move or not, and it's quite stressful, but it is exciting, that's for sure.
Well, it sure was exciting to watch, and you did a really good job getting up to where you did, and hope to see you back next week at Sonoma and hopefully fighting for the win. So good job, and see you next week.
Cheers. I'm just going to give a shout out to obviously my team, Thrustmaster Movano, and you guys, because you support this series from your hearts. I know it's become a cult series because of your coverage of it. And I also want to give a shout out to Daryl Taylor. I mean, a few weeks ago we didn't have a website, the UK&I League Monday Night Skippys, and he put a lot of time and effort in together a really nice website for us. So that's fantastic. We've actually got a voice out to the world, not just through RaceSpot now. And so go check it out if you can.
Hey, what's the website?
What's that?
What's the website?
I'll send you that link. In fact, I don't know what it's. I don't know the address, but it's a GitHub site. So if you go to, I suppose, Monday Night Skippys and search for GitHub Monday Night Skippys, it should come up.
Would you like to know how long we've been doing this broadcast for him?
Sorry, I'll go now. Bye.
No, I will tell you. It has been 3 years and 49 weeks. And I will tell you that on August the 4th, we're going to hit the 4-year anniversary of doing this series.
We should do something. Wow. We should do something about that.
Double point.
Yeah, let's do. I'll speak to Alan and Paul Thurston and see if we can celebrate with a maybe a reverse grid double header like they do in the 2K Cup. How about that?
Why not? Why not? Cool. He must need us, ladies and gentlemen, here on RaceSpotTV. Not the race he would have wanted. Got two more people to talk to. I'm going to start off by talking to the driver, James McCriffy. Well, James, it's not been a bad race for you here today. You got yourself, I need to sort out my time, it's going into 8th place here, but you did gain a lot of positions. Talk us through your event.
Yeah, I started quite far back. I hadn't done the track all week. I tried to get in the draft at qualifying, but they wasn't letting me this time, so I had to do it the proper way, unfortunately. And yeah, just battled to the front-ish, really. Enjoyed it, it's great fun.
Got yourself some positions gained here today. Sonoma, next time out, is a track that a lot of people say that these days it's hard to overtake at, but with such a promising finish here today, in a week's time at Sonoma, do you think you can do another big points haul?
Well, I put a lot more effort in the week this time, so I'm a bit more up to speed. Hopefully I'll get a bit further forward. Yeah, thank you.
Well, that is, ladies and gentlemen, James McCriffy. Going to hand it over then to Lena, stood by Christopher Kelsey.
Christopher Kelsey starting in P17, getting up into P number 10. You're gaining a bunch of... getting into the top 10. How was your race?
What can I say? It's actually my highest position I've ever finished in. It's actually my first year doing Monday Night Skippies, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I had a very good start. As per last week, both Tony and Simon were running with me the entire time. I wasn't quite able to catch up with the 3-pack ahead of me of Christoph, James and Clark Williams. They were just way too fast for me, unfortunately. Right towards the end I made a mistake, and then I had both Tony and Simon right behind me again. I was just able to hold them off until the end. All I can say is I'm really exhausted. It was a really good battle.
It sure was, and gaining 7 positions on a track like this with all the mayhem that occurred around you, that's a pretty good job, and we hope to see you back up in the top 10 soon again. Any favourite tracks coming up on the calendar for you?
Spa's coming up soon. That's one of my personal favourites. I've actually been there for the F1 race in 2016, so that's always been a personal favourite of mine. So I'm hoping for a good result there.
Yeah, hope to see you back in the top 10 soon, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
I'll tell you one thing before we go off air here, Linus. You like your NASCAR, don't you?
NASCAR? Me? No. Why would you think that?
Oh. You also like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, don't you?
Meh. Kind of.
If I was to tell you that there's a new event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on dirt, what would you say?
Sounds exciting if they do it on the full oval, but I guess they won't.
It's not
be
the
doing
full
that.
oval, unfortunately. It is down at the Snake Pit, turn number 3 of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going to have ourselves the Driven to Save Lives BC39 presented by NOS Energy Drink coming to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Wednesday, the 5th of September and the 6th of September. So, right when it's the busiest time of year for me. So, unfortunately, I can't go to that one. But yet, add Indianapolis Motor Speedway to your list of dirt tracks now in North America. Next week, Loneliness, we go to Sonoma.
We do, and that's another NASCAR track, which unfortunately turns left and right, but that has some good racing as well. And if I'm not mistaken, they're actually going to run the Cup layout as well. So it's going to be a race of a lot of elevation changes, a lot of high curbs, and a lot of going left, right, left, right, left in long sequences. So that could be a very, very good race as well.
Yep, and that's all we've got time for here tonight. Very quickly, big shout out to Ismail Balal, TrackCams22.com, as well as Andres One and Ant1 Design, Simon Grossman, Aptioneering.com, and Nick Thisson for RaceSpotTV live timing and scoring. Of course, we said it a moment ago, Monday Night Skippys here on RaceSpotTV. For the last 3 years, we have done it for a charitable partner. We had Shelter for about a year and a half, and we've had a year now with the Campaign Against Living Miserably, the Calm Zone. It's a male mental health charity designed to support those suffering with depression, because depression and mental health illnesses is the biggest killer of men in the UK under the age of 45. So if you or a friend are struggling, put them in contact with the Calm Zone. They got themselves chat every single evening. You've also got a lot of self-help tips there as well. That's all we got time for here, though, on Monday Night Skippys here tonight. Good night from Donington Park, from Linus Bonstrom, and myself, Will Vincent.